we are going to discuss is ELISA. ELISA stands for Enzyme Linked Immunosorbent Assay. You might have studied in some other classes also. As I told you, the secondary antibody will be tagged with an enzyme. See, tagging can be anything. In case of radioimmunoassay, what we have tagged, we have not tagged the antibody molecule, but we have tagged the antigen. We have tagged the antigen in the radioimmunoassay. What we are tagging in the ELISA, we are tagging it with the antibody molecule Fc region. Okay. An enzyme conjugated with an antibody reacts with a colorless substrate to generate a colored product. So we have to know. Here we have used autoradiography, measured the scintillations that were there, counted them, and then we have predicted the known and unknown concentrations of the antigens. But here in ELISA, what we are using? We are using an enzyme. And what is this enzyme? What is the why we are using an enzyme? Because it is the cheapest source. Using of radioactivity maybe sometimes it may cause deleterious effects in humans. We can't use it just radioactive compounds just like we handle the other things. It causes mutations. So many ill effects are associated with the radioactivity. So what we are doing here, we are tagging it with a enzyme which is very easy, safe to use at any place. So what principle we are applying here? We are taking an enzyme and adding it to a chromogenic substrate. Chromogenic substrate. I am using the term chromogenic substrate. Means what? Chromo means color imparting substrate. So when the enzyme binds to its substrate, it results in the formation of a product. This you know. Okay. So when you are adding an enzyme to a color imparting substrate, that is a chromogenic substrate, the substrate that is initially in the colorless form, when it is added upon by an enzyme, it turns into a colorful product. It turns into a colorful product. So the change in the color is taken as the positive result. Okay. So that is the principle of ELISA technique. So what enzymes we are using? Generally, we use different enzymes like alkaline phosphatase, horseradish peroxidase, galactosidase, and so on. So these three are regularly used enzymes in ELISA. Okay. And coming to the ELISAs, there are three types of ELISAs that are done. One is indirect ELISA, second one is direct ELISA, and the third one is competitive ELISA. Remember, indirect ELISA, direct ELISA, and competitive ELISA. Now, first one, see, this is the indirect ELISA. So what we do, how we do this ELISA? We do the ELISA in micro titer plates. Micro titer plate. What is a micro titer plate? A micro means which can fit only microliters. There is no special technicality here. Micro means it can fit only microliters. How much microliters? A maximum of 200 microliters can fit into that. Okay. Titer plate, titration plate, that's it. Recording. లైన్లో ఉన్నారా? నన్ను ఎందుకంటే పిల్లలకు టైం లేదు. నేను అక్కడికి వెళ్ళిపోయినా నేను అనుకున్నాను. Yeah. Now we are doing it in a micro titer plate. So micro titer plate can accommodate a maximum of 200 microliters. Okay. Now coming to this, how this micro titer plate is present. This is present at 12 by 8. That means you will have 12 by 8 wells in one small plate. It comes into the size of your palm. That's it. Okay. So that can be, you have done protein estimation and then you have measured the color intensity using a colorimeter. No. So because that volume is big enough, you have poured it into the cuvettes and then measured it in a colorimeter. But here, this micro titer plate, you are doing it in a very small volumes of a microliter level, and then you are reading the OD values in a specific equipment which is called as ELISA reader. ELISA reader. Okay. What it will do, what is the principle of ELISA reader? ELISA reader principle is similar to the principle of your colorimeter and spectrophotometer. That's it. The principle, everything is one and the same, but it will read at a time. It is an automated equipment. Okay. Now coming to the first one, that is indirect ELISA. So what you are doing in indirect ELISA, you will take a micro titer plate. In that micro titer plate, you will coat the well with an antigen. That means you are adding, and these micro titer plates are made up of polystyrene compounds. Okay, so plastic anamata. So when you are adding an antigen into the well, the antigen gets coated onto the bottom of the well. Okay, you will incubate it for some time, the antigen will get coated. So when the antigen will get coated, you will wash the buffer. Okay, how you will coat the antigen? Antigen will always be, you will not take powdered form, no, it will be there in a buffered solution because it is a protein, it gets denatured, so you maintain a buffered solution. So that you will add into that. So whatever the antigen will there, it just gets coated onto the polystyrene micro titer plates. Next you will, after incubation, what you will do, you will wash off the excess of the buffer that is there. So your well doesn't have anything except for the antigen now. Washing is a very important step in ELISA. Okay. So in the next step, what you do, you will add the primary antibody. This antibody is called as the primary antibody. When you are adding a primary antibody to it, suppose if the antigen is there, this is your unknown now. This is the unknown sample which you have added. Okay. I hope you all are following. So this is the unknown sample which you have added it to the well, and if this antigen is there, it will coat onto the well. After washing, only the antigen that is coated will be there. Then you are adding the primary antibody to it. The primary antibody, what it will do, it will go and bind to the antigen that is coated onto the wells. Okay, you incubate it for some period of time. The antigen antibody complex is formed. Again, it is a buffered solution now, so you will wash off the excess of the buffer that is there. Okay. Now, once this buffer is washed off, now you will add the secondary antibody. This is what is called as secondary antibody. Okay. Now, I told you in the previous section what is a secondary antibody. It is tagged to its Fc region by an enzyme, and this secondary antibody is raised against the Fc region of the primary antibody. Okay. And then again incubate it for some period of time. Then again wash. So what will happen after washing? After this step washing, the secondary antibody will get coated onto it. So what is the next step after this? After this step, you will add the chromogenic substrate. You will add the chromogenic substrate to it. Okay. So when you add the chromogenic substrate, what will happen? If the enzyme is there here, it will bind with the substrate and it results in a colored reaction. You will get a colored solution. If that colored solution is there, it means it is a positive result. Okay. So this is the positive result. Now assume the same thing with the negative result. You have added the unknown solution to it to look whether the antigen is there or not. Suppose there is no antigen here. If there is no antigen, when you have washed the buffer, the titer plate will be empty. Okay. Now, in the second step, what you are supposed to do, you have to add the primary antibody. Okay. Since there is no antigen that is coated onto the well, when you add the primary antibody to it, what will happen? Will the antibody bind to the well simply? It will not bind. Only if antigen is there, it will bind. So what is the next step? Wash. I told you washing is very, very important step here. So what is happening in the second step? Because there is no antigen to bind, the antibody that will be free here, it also gets washed off. Okay. In the third step, you are adding secondary antibody. Because there is no primary antibody, there is no binding for the secondary antibody. So it also gets washed off. That means you don't have a secondary antibody that is tagged with an enzyme molecule. Now what is happening in the last step? You are adding a chromogenic substrate. The substrate doesn't have an enzyme to bind to it and give a colored solution. So you will not get any color because there is no enzyme. It got washed off. Okay, so that will indicate if no color, then it indicates a negative step. If there is a colored reaction, it indicates a positive step. So that is what is called as an indirect ELISA. Why it is called indirect ELISA? Because you are adding an antigen onto the well, you call it as an indirect ELISA. Now, if you see the second thing, sandwich ELISA. Why the name sandwich ELISA? Because antigen is getting sandwiched in between two antibody molecules. You call this technique as sandwich ELISA. Clear? That's the reason why it is named as sandwich ELISA. In sandwich ELISA, what we are doing, we are not coating the well with the antigen, but we are coating the well with the antibody molecule. Okay. So we are coating the well with the antibody molecule. So washing is common. So coated the antibody molecule, Fc region is binding to the micro titer plate. Then second step, wash. Third step, add antigen to it. If antibody is there, the antigen will bind to it. Again, negative result. If antibody is not there, the antigen also will not bind to it. It will also be free. In the next step, they both get washed off. Okay. Now, in the third step, what you are doing, you are adding a secondary antibody that is conjugated with an enzyme, but this one important point when you are doing sandwich ELISA is the antigen should be multiple epitopic. It should have multiple epitopic, same type of epitopes. Okay. That's the reason why when you have added a primary antibody, the primary antibody has bound the antigen like this. And when you have added a secondary antibody, the secondary antibody should have the epitopes to bind to it. But it is tagged here with a enzyme molecule. Okay. So because it is sandwich, you call it as a sandwich ELISA. Okay. Next step, wash, add chromogenic substrate to it. So when you are adding chromogenic substrate to it, obviously, if enzyme is there, there will be a colored reaction. If enzyme is not there, there will not be any colored reaction that is there. Clear? So this is what is called as a sandwich ELISA. Next, third, competitive ELISA. Competitive ELISA principle is the same like radio immunoassay. It depends on the competitive binding of. It depends on the competitive binding of a tagged antibody molecule with that of an untagged molecule. Okay. So you can refer to this figure. It is very clearly incubate antibody with the antigen. You have incubated the antibody with the antigen. Then you have added it into an antigen coated well, and then you wash it. Add enzyme conjugated secondary antibody. If still it is there, if the binding will be there, it will be bound to it. If it is not there, it gets washed off. If enzyme is there, if you add chromogenic substrate, it gives color, otherwise it doesn't give the color. So with this we are done with ELISA. In this, I think there is some gap that was